What's up people, this is Plant Mom Mitali here, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite plants. Now this plant has many names. It's called as Pillonia Repens, it's also called as watermelon begonia, and it's also called as a gunpowder plant. Whatever the name may be, it has stunning foliage and that's why I love it. Also, it's one of the easy to care for plants and it's a vine. So let's get ahead in the video and check out what my craze and everybody's craze about Pillonia repens or the gunpowder plant is. So like you can see, I have kept it in a hanging pot and I'm hanging it just in a place where it receives sunlight but not direct sunlight. So what are the sunlight requirements? No direct sunlight should fall on its leaves. Also, I always make it a reason to explain why. It is because of its delicateness. If you see, and you can see a lot of light green in the veins running here, and that is why it cannot tolerate direct sunlight. This applies to all the plants which have delicate structure, delicate veins, delicate creepers or delicate stem, whatever you might call it. So this is how I have put the Pillonia repens. Now one of my biggest problems with this one is that it is not growing. So what do we always do with the plant? We always analyze the plant. But this being a vine, it's really difficult to dig in and actually not cut the plant. But still, I'm going to try and do this, and let's see why my gunpowder plant is not growing. Okay. So when I was checking out the plant, I found this. Now what is this? This is a banana peel. And what have I always explained, banana peel is something which can be, after you eat the banana, can directly be added to the plants like that. It doesn't stink and it's an excellent fertilizer for plants. If you are not into composting, you can at least not throw away your banana peels, directly put it in any plant. It doesn't harm the plant at all. It does plant some amazingly good things. Okay, so fertilization, you can either add compost or banana peels to it. Let me first analyze how this vine was growing. Now, examining its root structure, this vine is doing good. So I'm just keeping it as it is. Yes. Now this is where I have found the problem. This has not rooted properly. In fact, the gardener who has placed it has just randomly placed this, and that's why it's not growing. It's just getting enough nutrients for it to survive, but because it has not rooted properly, how can it grow? It's just coming out like I'm plucking petals out of a rose flower, you know. So I'm just keeping it, and now our duty is to nicely put it in a pot, nicely let it germinate, nicely plant it. Okay, see, it's just coming out. Had I not intervened, this plant would have probably died because it was just placed, it was not potted. And we'll of course change the soil, add a bit of compost to it and just repot the plant. Now in this video we'll also get to see how to repot a vine, because vine has a delicate root structure. Now I'm just removing half of the soil in it, and I can also see that this plant has definitely been overwatered. So how much do we water a plant? We should not definitely overwater a plant. But what happens is, when you put plants in a hanging basket, generally they are so high up that we don't end up checking how much water this plant has consumed and we keep on watering it. So the ideal way to water hanging pots is to get them down, check how much they have been watered and then water it. Okay, so I'm changing the soil here. Now this pot is quite deep, so I'm not going to put the vine so deep. So I'm adding a bit of soil. Compost should never be added directly. It should always be added on the top. So compost will happen later. Now I have just added enough soil so that the earlier soil, which was really wet, it's mixed with the dry soil. Later we are of course going to water the plant. Now you may find that this video light was harsh, there's a lot of sunlight. It's because we are shooting in May, and while our timing of shooting the videos has remained the same, the timing of the sunset has changed. Okay, now I'm just taking this vine, not doing anything to it, just placing it here, not harming the roots at all. Now the plants which are like really tiny and small, we can just put them later. Taking the bigger ones. I think this has just come out, but this can get rooted. The propagation method of this plant is division by cuttings. That is, you can cut the plant at its node and a new plant will grow from that desired place. Okay, now I have ended up damaging the roots, but okay, let's hope and pray that this roots. Now let me tell you about the origins of this plant. A perfect origin of this plant is not known, but this plant has come from Southeast Asia. Do not use your dumbbell fingers, dumbbell hands, and just be very light in plucking out a vine or propagating a vine. Okay. And just gently placing it. What you can do is, you can also make 2 baskets of this so that there is enough room, and I think we will have to do that. Enough room for the plant to grow. Yes. Now I'm just placing them nicely. They are just falling off, so it's high time we add in soil. Taking some more soil. Now you may have seen that I have put some, in fact it's not me but my kids have added these stones, but it's okay. they have added it while playing, but I'm still continuing with them, is because it's not bad to add any stones to the soil. Plus, somewhere if a plant is very delicate, I can just place the stone and it will provide its stem some support, also provides aeration. That's it. This is how I have potted this Pillonia repens or the gunpowder plant. The smaller ones will get added in another basket. So let me quickly add them and show you. So while we were trying to save this plant, while I was trying to repot this plant, we found out that this plant was not properly potted. It was just placed on top of soil and hence this plant was not growing. Now that we have properly potted the plant and even propagated it into 2 different pots, I am sure that this Pillonia repens will absolutely keep on growing and it will produce flowers and bloom and prosper. So in this video, while I was repotting this plant, I spoke about the sunlight. Okay, I also spoke about the watering conditions. I also spoke about the fertilization needs. It just needs basic fertilization. You can directly add banana peels or you can use compost. Okay, so this soil which I added already had a little bit of compost mixed in, so I'm not going to overburn. When you add too much of compost, it is called as overburn. The compost overburn. So I'm not going to do that. Okay. Now the soil conditions. Normal chicket soil is absolutely okay for it. Do not add coco peat because any kind of vine has little fragile roots. So if it gets overly clogged in coco peat, it gets actually like soaked in coco peat, then it might die as well. So just add a basic mixture of cocoa bark if you want to, vermiculite 10% and 90% clay soil. That speaks about the soil. And the propagation, I also spoke about propagation, which is division by cuttings. If it gets clipped here, you can directly pot it up, which is what I have done for this, and this is going to grow. And we have in fact made 2 out of this 1 pot. I think we have spoken about everything here. So how did you like this video on Pillonia repens, the gunpowder plant, or a watermelon begonia? It's called as many names, but the care almost remains the same. Let me know in the comment section below. Do share it with a lot of your friends who love gardening but are confused as to how to go about it. And I will always be there for you to answer any kind of doubts that you have. So do ask me those in the comment section below. Till now, it's a goodbye from me. It's getting too sunny. Let me apply a little bit of sunscreen and come back for you next week in another video. Bye.